Cleared out to center ice to Pominville. Pominville into Ottawa territory. Pominville goes around Alfredson, cuts in front, scores! Jason Pominville, short-handed. Oh, now do you believe? Now do you believe? These guys are good, scary good. And Greer will skate it to center ice, get it back again. Greer in over the line, looking for Drury. Backhand, scores! Chris Drury, top shelf where Mama hides the cookies. And now the Flyers will pick it up and bring it back. Oh, what a hit by Campbell! Holy mackerel! Campbell stepped into his check in the blue line. Now they're all chasing after Campbell.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog on WGR Sports Radio 550.
It simply might be my favorite sports team ever. And chills 20 years later. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. I mean, Bulldog, 86 Mets. Come on. I'm a kid. But to be an adult, to be in your 30s and have a sports team just sort of consume you, personally, professionally, emotionally, it happened. Our guest on the Wester Hotline, Jay McKee, a big part of that. I was thinking about talking to you today, Jay, and I'm looking at my app last night, checking the scores, and David Perron scored a goal for Ottawa. And I remembered asking, you were teammates, I think, in St. Louis, like a long time ago. I remember asking you, like, what's this? I was collecting cards, and I had a Perron card. I'm like, who's this guy? And you compared him to Briere a little bit. Like you said, I don't know if that rings a bell, but are you as excited about tonight as, I don't know, maybe the fans are, your former teammates? How are you feeling?
I am. It's obviously it's been a long time now, and you're all friends for life when you go through those moments and experiences together. But life obviously takes everyone in separate ways when guys move on. Obviously, with the technology nowadays, you can stay in touch, but to really get everyone together again is it's pretty meaningful.
Yeah, I was just checking the list. Hi, by the way, Jay. It's nice to talk to you. I don't have your number, so I wasn't texting you.
Hear your voices again.
It's really nice to chat with you. We go way, way, way back. I remember when you were drafted, for crying out loud. Yeah, the list is, not every guy from that team, but there's 19 people on this list. I mean, that's a hard. There's only like 23, 25 guys on a team with Black Aces added in. So
most of the guys who are not here are actual NHL general managers.
Right, they've got jobs. And so do you in hockey, obviously, but fortunately a night off for you, right?
Yeah. No, it's good. It's understandable. They're busy guys, those GMs. But no, it's pretty special. I think it's hard to get this amount of guys together, and really grateful that the organization was able to put it together. Like I said, you kind of stay in touch with guys here and there, but I haven't seen a lot of those faces in a long time. So, and again, there are so many fun memories, and when your teammates going through that and having success, it's when you look back, it's a time of your life. So it'll be refreshing to see everybody and catch up and see how they're all doing.
Are you one to generally reminisce and think wistfully about those days, or are you just too busy moving forward? And that's what makes this so special, is it kind of gives you an opportunity to sort of dive back in, whereas maybe day to day, week to week, month to month, it's not something that you would want to spend too much time thinking about because you got too much else going on.
Well, I'm reminded weekly about the staph infection that year.
Oh no!
So it's hard to move on from. No, it's life gives you opportunity and challenges you to make new and more exciting memories as it goes on. But certainly, when I think back to my years past and playing the sport, that's that year and the '99 year are really the two out of the 14 years I spent in the league that the one memories flood back on. And then obviously, God rest his soul, hearing those calls from RJ, give you chills.
Yeah.
Us too. Yeah.
The Pominville clip there, I mean, if Jay doesn't catch him, he's still skating around that rink, I think.
Yeah, he's doing a full lap for sure. But I think, being the guy sitting in the box during that goal in a Stanley Cup playoff game in overtime, I think there was no one more thrilled than myself to see that puck go in.
Did somebody open the door for you? So Pominville, you're in the penalty box. Pominville scores, and he's coming in your direction at the box. Do you just sort of like rip that thing open, or does the guy with the suit on, like, oh, how did that happen? Do you remember?
I'm pretty sure age didn't matter at that point. If he was 80 years old, I was pushing him out of the way to get out of that door pretty quick.
and you score, by the way, the next game. The next game is Game 1 in Carolina. That was a pretty great moment.
Yeah, and that was another unique one because we had it was a pretty tight game. I think we were up by 1. It's actually a funny moment. I was in the penalty box, and there was a guy for 2 straight minutes screaming through the partition, telling me it's going to be all my fault. We're going to lose the game. They're going to score right here. And that goal, I had never had a fan do that before. He literally, the whole 2+ minutes, if there was a couple of whistles, just screamed through the partition. And I stepped on the ice, collected a pass, went up and scored. So next time you see the replay of that goal, you'll see me. I wasn't even looking at our bench. I was looking over at that guy, pointing at him and yelling at him. And,
oh, wow.
Pretty memorable moment there.
I don't think I knew that story. 8 seconds after your penalty expired,
Wow.
then you are you always in the box?
Apparently at important times, but you know what? When I am, good things happen.
That's right.
Sounds like it. Jay, you mentioned, I want to go back to the Pominville goal for just a second because I've told this story since the first time we were on the air after that game happened and whenever it's come up. And I've never thought about you. I mean, we've talked to you about it before, so I remember that you were in the box. But we can't see you as that play is unfolding, even on any of the different angle replays. But there's like an ice level replay that you can see the entire Sabres bench, and they're all sitting, and Pominville's, skates by them and is going, and they're just sitting. And you know how a bench can be, especially in the playoffs, when there's a moment, like guys will get up. But nobody thought that play was going to be anything, including me watching it in my bedroom, like sort of half reclined. And then he cuts to the net, and it's in the net. And the spontaneity of the bench celebration, like, how about from your standpoint watching that play? Were you just like, oh, good job, Palmer, killing time, go down into the corner, and then it's in the net 2 seconds later? It's just kind of still incredible.
You think of how many penalty kills you watch when you watch games over the years, and you just never see goals scored like that. And then you really amplify it in the moment to end a series and keep the ball rolling for us. I would assume, I don't recall exactly, but I would assume I was thinking the same thing. I'm just hoping, the clock runs down and I can get out there and maybe get another breakaway. But no, it was a very spontaneous moment. I don't think anyone expected him to pull that move off, and obviously it was on Alfredsson, who's one heck of he's a legendary hockey player, and in that such a tight area to pull it across the net and score that goal, it was really special and definitely one of the defining moments of that season and that playoff run.
With Jay McKee, Mike Schopp and the Bulldog on WGR. We talked to Pominville some number of years after that goal. Maybe he was still active, but this was a proud moment for me. I asked him, is there anything about that nobody has ever asked you or that people wouldn't know? Just like Bulldog's question. What a great question about noticing the players. And he said, yes. He said, I was at the beginning of my shift and they weren't. And so I think they might have thought I was just going off, like I was going to get to center ice and go off because we're killing a penalty. Right. It's overtime in the playoffs. He's like, but I had legs. And I love that little nuance about that story that how did it happen? Maybe that's how it happened, where they just were sort of assuming he was going to dump it, no matter whether it was the end of his shift or not. Like, that's how it looked.
I do think, too, when sometimes teams will have 4 forwards on a power play. And I think Alfredsson was in that position, if I recall, because they had a forward, on the point. When forwards are heading down the ice and they see another forward defending them instead of a defenseman, one-on-one against skilled players for players who don't do it for a living is a challenge. And I think Pominville obviously exposed it. It was a heck of a move. He may have done the same thing on a veteran defenseman, but it was a tough one for Alfredsson with a guy with that kind of skill and ability coming down on him in that moment.
Jay, the story of that season, at least from the outside, was how you're coming off of the canceled season and the team didn't really start that well. You had Miller get hurt and it was, what were they, like 9-9 or something like that? It was just like an okay start, expectations were low. The building was not full. And, the way we remember it is, okay, this is incredible. This was not supposed to happen. How did these guys get this good? What was it? How do you remember that? Were you maybe more the type to think like we're being underrated, or was it also more of a surprise to you that you had what you had?
No, I think we believed what we had in the room. A lot of times, and you even look at the Sabres this year, when you have injuries, it has an effect. It affects some chemistry. Obviously, when you have an injury to starting goaltender, and this is not a dig on any backup, but they're a starting goaltender for a reason. They might squeak out that game here or there that the backup wouldn't. But when we looked at our team, we felt we were deep really in every position. And once we kind of found some chemistry amongst the lines up front, once the chemistry in the back end clicked, and when you look at that team also, some of our younger players were the highly skilled guys like Palmerville, Roy, Vanek. Those were our younger players, so who weren't fully established. So with guys that are just learning their way into the National Hockey League as younger players, it takes a handful of games under their belt to fully understand the systems, what the coach expects, to get comfortable with their teammates and their surroundings. And I just think once we kind of hit that stride around that time, the belief really started to settle in too. Once everyone was comfortable and the chemistry started happening, and confidence is such a huge part of that in that game. And when you have a team full of players with confidence, special things can happen.
Right, about a half dozen of those guys were playing for Rochester in the arena the spring before because there was no NHL. Gostad, right? I mean, a bunch of those guys.
Vanek,
it takes those guys some time to get their footing and start to feel comfortable. And once they do, it just adds to the depth of your organization.
Jay, I know you're obviously, a pro hockey player. You went on to play elsewhere, friends in the league, friends on different teams. So I'm going to ask you this, and I understand if you, got to beg off or whatever. Do you still hate Carolina? Did you ever hate Carolina? We hate. It's different for fans. We hate. I used to joke around that I get out of bed hating the Flyers because of 1975. I'm that old. The Hurricanes still are just a problem for a lot of Sabres fans. How are they for you?
Yeah. Well, I mean that we're talking about that year. That was a tough one for me. The '99 season may have been tougher, given we felt it wasn't legit. But
right.
You dislike every team you play against. I think when you have that within you, you're competitive at nature and have a fire inside you to win. You kind of dislike every team. I don't fault Carolina for beating us. They just seem to have fate on their side during their run that year, and even seeing Rolison go down the game before the Stanley Cup playoffs, it just seemed like something was happening for them, helping them win. And for whatever reason that was, luck, fate, it was on their side that year, and it was against us. So I hold no ill will against the Carolina or the players. I think I have more of a bitter taste still about the '99 year.
Makes sense. Jay, so when I think about '06, I mean, Bulldog and I were still into our careers at that point, and it was so amazing how transcendent the Sabres became. Like, we didn't talk about the Bills ever for a while there. And we had Ellen Maxwell in here doing a story for Channel 4 about my pants. Because I said on the air, just said casually one day, that I wore these pants to every game. They win every time I wear these pants. Really, we didn't have analytics then. And anybody could have said, well, they win most of these games. So it wasn't really the pants to the pants credit. Might you have a memory or two of that time when it was like, okay, this is, maybe it wasn't different from '99 from your perspective, but it might have been that, like, all right, this is really, my wife tells a story about going to a game and there was an autograph event after the game that year, way before the playoffs, and just like everybody stayed and got autographs from players at tables in the arena. And that might seem like sort of incredible to fans listening now who didn't live those years.
Yeah. No, I think as the season went on, it was a team, too, that had a real tightness. The guys spent a lot of time together. on the road, at home. They would still get together. There was a camaraderie in the dressing room. We felt we were strong all year. I just think as it kept building, we felt more and more confident. The depth of our team, it just all seemed to come together. Palmer's goal there, obviously, and again, RJ, just his calls. We would hear those too on replays and stuff and on the radio, and it just built an aura of belief, I think, within the whole dressing room and the city. For me, everything was just going really well. And after Briere had scored that OT goal in Game 6, in my heart, I remember just saying, we're winning this whole thing. We're winning the Stanley Cup this year. I had such a belief inside, and I don't doubt that each player in the room had that belief. And we had already lost, I believe, 5, Connolly and 4 players, only in 3 of our starting 6 defensemen, and the belief was still there. But again, unfortunately, fate took the turn and was in Carolina's side. But I had a true belief in my heart after that goal that not just were we a good team and a strong team, I had a belief we were winning the Stanley Cup.
Jay, before we wrap up here, if it's okay, Mike, if we move on, I want to ask you about, it's year 5 now with the Brantford/Hamilton. It was 2 years in Hamilton, and now this is year 3 with Brantford. Congratulations on a nice run being a head coach in the OHL with the same group for 5 years now. How's it going? And mostly I want to know, because I still follow enough junior hockey reporters from when my kid was, working his way up the ladder, that I saw the OHL Top Prospects game yesterday, and to see all the college commitments on that roster was really bizarre to me. Yeah. How different is the lay of the land now with that kind of wide open now?
Well, I'm grateful to have the opportunity to stay in the sport that I love and pass on some of the teaching that I was able to take on from the coaches before me, and I love coaching. It's been wonderful. But the landscape has changed, but I think it's for the better of the athletes. You see a lot of kids commit now to the college even while they're in the OHL. That doesn't necessarily mean they're 100% going to college. That means they've got a fantastic opportunity waiting for them if the pro route doesn't pan out for them. And I do believe, even if you look at the central scouting that came out, the majority of players in the first round or even the draft come from the CHL. So it's what I believe is the best developmental hockey league in the world. So the U.S.-born players who are thinking of college can now, opt into going to the best junior development league in the world and still fall back on a college scholarship in the U.S. If they so desire. So, if I think about my sons and the opportunities that I would want for them, the changing landscape is fantastic. And it's great for the kids. It hasn't affected the CHL. I think it's only made hockey in general better.
Yeah, here. I totally agree.
Yep. This has been wonderful. We don't talk as often as we used to, Jay, but I'll tell you, my daughter plays hockey in Canada as a 14-year-old. My son played box lacrosse as a 16-year-old for St. Catharines. And I'm in these arenas. Bulldog has done the tour. I know, I'm in Guelph or I'm in Whitby or I'm in Kingston or wherever. Yep. And I always think of you because there's some NHL alum that's sort of on display, a plaque or a jersey or something, or several in all these places. And you're the guy I think of, as a coach, as a player, Niagara Falls, just sort of, I think Jay has been here and played, and I just sort of have that moment. I don't think of you as often when I'm playing craps because I just got destroyed the night you and I were at the tables. Please don't take that personally. Okay.
Not at all.
May you have a wonderful night. Thank you so much for this.
I appreciate you guys. Thanks for your time.